Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Vincent's leader urges CARICOM countries to stand together against efforts to topple the Venezuelan government. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Tuesday, May 16. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is cautioning CARICOM countries not to allow a small group of powerful nations to dilute the collective strength of the 15-member regional grouping. In a 3-page letter to CARICOM leaders that was obtained by the Barbados Today online newspaper, he warned that a wedge is being driven through CARICOM over a plan for regime change in Venezuela, and he's pointing fingers at a group of powerful nations within the Organization of American States, the OAS. The Vincentian leader wrote in the letter dated May 10, 2017, and I quote, "A handful of powerful countries with an agenda of naked self-interest has strategically invited select CARICOM countries to their meetings and ignored the others. In the result, they have succeeded in disuniting and weakening CARICOM countries whose only strength lies in our solidarity. This worrying development has been particularly manifested in matters relating to Venezuela." End of quote. He added that there is a calculated strategy to achieve regime change in Venezuela by using the OAS as a weapon of destruction. Gonsalves said while CARICOM heads may have concerns about the political, economic and social conditions in Venezuela, they are all sufficiently seasoned enough to know that toppling a government will not end those conditions, particularly when there is no viable alternative to replace it. He acknowledges that CARICOM member states could have a role in promoting dialogue to help resolve the conflict in Venezuela. And Gonsalves warned fellow regional leaders against allowing themselves to be ambushed into breaking solidarity and aligning themselves with fair weather friends. He also identified OAS Secretary General Luis Almagro as a chosen and willing tool in the plot to topple the Nicolas Maduro administration. Meanwhile, representatives from 18 OAS member states have approved a meeting of foreign ministers scheduled for May 31 in Washington to discuss the Venezuela crisis. And the OAS Secretary General issued a statement today reiterating his position on the Venezuela crisis. Almagro is calling for an end to the violence and repression, freeing of political prisoners and opening of a humanitarian channel to meet the basic needs of the Venezuelan people and the return of democracy. But he insisted that the solution to the crisis is Venezuelan. Almagro said the efforts of the hemispheric community are aimed at demanding compliance with the Constitution and reaching a democratic exit from the crisis in the country by allowing Venezuelans to decide their destiny in early general elections. The Progressive Liberal Party, the PLP, has a new leader. Former Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis is now serving as interim leader after Prime Minister Perry Christie resigned on Monday night with immediate effect, saying that his season in politics has come to an end. He made the announcement at a meeting of his party's National General Council 5 days after his PLP's agonizing election defeat. Christie told party members that he accepted full responsibility for the loss.
I also accept without reservation that the best traditions of our democracy, no less the impulses of my own conscience and value system, dictate that I resign as the leader of our party. This is the correct and only thing for me to do from both a political and moral perspective. I wish to God that I could have helped more people. But God knows that for all my faults and failings as a leader and as a man, I tried my best to do the best that I could for the Bahamian people.
Christie said he had tried his best and wished he could have helped more people, but the time had come for him to move on. The former Prime Minister also sought to reassure members that the PLP could rise from the ashes and win again, as it did in the elections of 1967 and 2000.
That the historical odds favor a return of the PLP in the very near future. But let me hasten to add, but only if we do the right things to rebuild our party, to prove itself worthy of the trust of the Bahamian people.
The 73-year-old Christie entered politics as a senator in 1974 and in 1977 received the PLP's nomination for the constituency of Centerville. Since then, he won 8 consecutive elections until he lost his seat by 4 votes in last week's polls. His PLP won only 4 of the 39 seats in Parliament, with the rest going to the Free National Movement. Meantime, the man who has succeeded Christie as Prime Minister says his decision to not hold the finance portfolio is a strategic one. Dr. Hubert Minnis is the first Bahamian Prime Minister not to keep that responsibility. At Monday's swearing-in of the bulk of his cabinet, he explained why he will not hold that or any other substantive ministry, even though some items may remain in the portfolio of the office of the Prime Minister.
I made this decision in order to perform my primary constitutional duty as Prime Minister. This primary constitutional duty is the coordination and oversight of the Cabinet of the Bahamas. And as I have repeatedly noted, my government will be one of collegiality, collective responsibility, and collaboration. I pledge also collaboration and regular consultation with parliamentary colleagues.
And the new Minister of Finance in the Free National Movement administration, Peter Turnquest, says he has already started formulating a new budget. Turnquest, who is also Deputy Prime Minister, says he has started briefing with his team and they will be working on an economic plan over the next few weeks. Meantime, the FNM chairman, Sidney Cawley, has been outlining the party's plans now that it is in government. He spoke about a number of national issues with Chania Noel Ferguson of ZNS Network News.
The party is going to live up to its commitment to repeal certain aspects on VAT. Those areas that affect the poor and the downtrodden and the average Bahamian, because it impacts on the national growth rate, the level of unemployment and crime, and so those will be top on the agenda.
Now, the F&M chairman also addressed the new government stance on national health insurance recently implemented by the former administration.
But the way we want to implement national health insurance is not the way the PLP has said about doing it. We need a nationwide health system, facilities, staffing, medicine, a seamless system, so there's a national health infrastructure.
And then there's Bahamar. On the campaign trail, the PLP charged that the Minnis-led government would sell the resort, but the party says this would not happen.
His order of business is to find out what are in those heads of agreements and what is sealed in the court. And when that is done, the government will come forward with a plan.
Now, following Monday's swearing in of cabinet ministers, a brief meeting will be held on Tuesday, and ministers of state and parliamentary secretaries will be sworn in early next week.
Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, 8 detained in Trinidad and Tobago following protest on the outskirts of the capital. We'll tell you what that's all about after the break. Do stay with us.
To SwiftPack, your online shopping and shipping solution. Receive the best rates, expert cargo management, and exceptional customer service. SwiftPack provides secure handling of your smallest packages to your largest cargo with speed and reliability. We invite you to use our U.S. mailbox service, online shopping, ship air and ocean cargo from the supplier to your door. We handle it all for you. Get started now. Sign up for a free regular account or premium account, or give us a call on 440-6100. SwiftPack. You shop, we ship, you save.
Ready. It's another episode. When we out on the road. This is what we love to celebrate, to celebrate. This is not Hollywood. No, we don't come out the road. Drink, drink, drink.
King Papa and the guitar. And if I tell a boy, keep on calling me wrong name. But that's okay, cause that's my babe. I don't understand how we're in an antagonist. You know what to say, he's still calling me wrong name.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
We continue in Trinidad and Tobago, where police detained 8 people on Tuesday following fiery protests by residents in the Movar district on the outskirts of the capital. Lawmen report that the residents who were protesting against the lack of utilities and jobs brought traffic to a standstill from as early as 5 a.m. According to a statement issued by the police service, the residents created dangerous obstructions by burning tires, appliances and derelict vehicles. The security officials say they were able to quell the protest, allowing the fire brigade and other officials to clear the road of the burning debris. A heavy police presence is now being maintained in the area in an effort to prevent further action by the residents. A local television station had reported that protesters shot at police, but this was later denied. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Tuesday ordered all national emergency systems to be activated as heavy rainfall caused extensive flooding in parts of the island. St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Thomas and St. Anne were the areas most affected. Education Minister Ruel Reid also ordered most schools closed, and Parliament's scheduled sitting for the day was called off. The island remains under a flash flood warning for low-lying and flood-prone areas, and Prime Minister Holness has urged residents to be on high alert. Still in Jamaica, police are investigating a multi-million-dollar cocaine seizure from the hull of a ship from Spain. The discovery was made shortly after 2 a.m. on Sunday, 2 days after the ship arrived in the island. Security personnel had seen a metal canister attached to the ship and alerted the police and the Jamaica Customs Contraband Enforcement Team. That's the Customs Contraband Enforcement Team. Checks revealed that the canister contained 58 rectangular parcels of cocaine. Police say the illicit drug weighed 75.35 kilograms and has an estimated street value of 71.63 million Jamaica dollars. Now that's more than $500,000 US. No arrests have been made in connection with the seizure so far. And ahead in Newsline Sport, the West Indies head coach finds a positive in his side's performance against Pakistan despite the disappointing test. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Ready. It's another episode. When we out on the road, this is what we love to celebrate, to celebrate. This is not Hollywood. No, we don't come out the road. Drink, drink, drink.
King Baba and the guitar. Every fact that a boy keep on calling me wrong name. But that's okay, cause that's my bitch. I don't understand how wearing a name tag on me. Don't know what to say, he's still calling me wrong name.
Don't get vexed with me. Don't say that.
Ravenel's Resort and Conference Center is the mecca of conferences in the island of Tobago. The state-of-the-art facility caters to executive forums, weddings, banquets, training, elegant dining, and tranquil accommodations. Guests at Ravenel's Resort can choose from self-catering, standard, deluxe, and executive rooms. Sit at the poolside and savor the ambience of nature, or enjoy a sumptuous meal on the terrace and inside a Bouvardia restaurant. Let's go to Ravenel's Resort and Conference Center, the tranquil Caribbean Resort. Call 868-639-9666 or visit our website at www.ravenelsresorttobago.com.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
West Indies head coach Stuart Law believes the regional side can take heart from the just-ended series against Pakistan, despite losing 2-1 in heartbreaking fashion on the final day at Windsor Park on Sunday. The Australian, who was overseeing his first test series since taking up his post last February, said the baton of Roston Chase and the wholehearted effort displayed by the fast bowlers on flat tracks was evidence enough to suggest the Windies were heading in the right direction. He said on Monday, and I quote, "We can take plenty of positives. Let's not dwell too much on what happened yesterday. Going into yesterday's play, we had a chance of winning the test match and winning the series. I don't think West Indies have been in that position for a long time. And the way we played, we got beaten up in Jamaica, but then we fought back hard in Barbados. We changed the way we wanted to go about our preparation, and we wanted to change our culture, and the boys really responded well to that, and we took that into this test match. It was pretty tough on pretty unresponsive surface, but everyone stuck their hands up again." Chase's batting was one of the highlights of the series. The 25-year-old was the only batsman on either side to pass 400 runs. He made 403 and averaged 100 with 2 centuries and 2 half-centuries. Law said Chase's heavy scoring and critical interventions with his off-spin had made him perhaps the ideal choice for a man of the series. Meanwhile, a former West Indies fast bowler has offered his own assessment of the regional side's performance in the home series. Philo Wallace described Shannon Gabriel's attempt to heave the ball in the penultimate over as reckless. He also raised concerns about the selection of players for the series. TV6's Vinod Nawani tells us more in this report.
Got him! Why did he do that?
When tail-ender Shannon Gabriel went for a big heave and was bowled by Yasir Shah, Caribbean fans were disappointed as the West Indies lost the Dominica Test match to Pakistan. That's because had he survived, the Windies would have had only one more over to try and draw the game and the series with it. Former Windies opener Philo Wallace says, quote, "I think Shannon's shot was shocking. He sent shockwaves throughout the Caribbean. He was batting so effectively up to that point, and one could only bring it down to being reckless," unquote. At the same time, the other batsmen also failed to make a contribution, with the exception of Roston Chase, who was stranded on 101 not out. According to Wallace, based on the brittle batting, Jermaine Blackwood should have been playing in the series instead of having two fledglings Vishal Singh and Shimron Hetmyer playing in the same game. Wallace says, quote, "I think Jermaine Blackwood was hard done in the series. I thought he should have started the series in Jamaica and been given the opportunity to be one of the leaders in the batting department in the middle order. To give two debutants the chance ahead of Blackwood was asking for a lot from the pair against the potent Pakistan bowling unit," unquote. Having said that, Wallace also has some positives that he's taking from the three-game contest. He says, quote, "When you look at the West Indies' performance overall in this series, one would be heartened by the fight shown by the team. Obviously, the star on the batting side would be Roston Chase with his 200s. Then you look at positives from Shannon Gabriel as a fast bowler. Regarding Jason Holder, his batting showed effectiveness. Even though his bowling lacked penetration, he was accurate and economical," unquote. The next Test series for the West Indies is away to England, which Wallace expects to be a tough one for the Caribbean side. He believes the Windies still lack that critical game awareness and failed to go for the jugular after being in a solid position against the opposition.
And still in cricket, West Indies will seek to enhance their qualification fortunes for the 2019 Cricket World Cup when they clash with powerhouses India in a 5-match series starting in the Caribbean next month. The Indian Cricket Board said in a statement released on Tuesday that the tour will run from June 23 to July 6, with the lone T20 international scheduled for July 9. The Caribbean side will open the tour against India with 2 ODIs at Queen's Park Oval in Port of Spain on June 23 and 25. Before heading to the Vivian Richards Cricket Stadium in Antigua for the 3rd and 4th matches on June 30 and July 2. Sabina Park in Kingston will play host to the final ODI on July 6 and the only T20 international 3 days later. West Indies are currently ranked 9th in the International Cricket Council's one-day rankings and are in danger of missing out on automatic qualification for the World Cup. Over to football now. Defending champions Central FC and their Trinidadian counterparts San Juan FC opened their FCU Club Championship campaign with victories Antiguan-based club Grenades and Haiti's Racine FC. Playing at the Hazley Crawford Stadium in what was the final game of the doubleheader, Central FC hammered 3 goals past Grenades after they were behind in the first 30 minutes of the game. Earlier, Jablotech got the better of Racing 2-0. CNC3's Caston Cupid tells us how both matches went down.
First up was Samuel Jablotech taking on Haitian club Racing FC in their Group B encounter. Jablotech should have broken the deadlock from the start, but the shot was smothered by the keeper. Jablotech again, but up, and away the shot went. It was goalless at the half. 50th minute now, look at this lovely play and ball movement. And Nathan Lewis was like a cold red soft drink on a hot day, hitting the spot. 1-0, just what the Samuel Jablotech fans wanted. 74th minute, lovely passing again. The defender, Joseph Richardson, did the honors to send it into his own net, own goal, and Jablotech got the 3 points with the 2-0 victory. In the second encounter, defending champs Central FC conceded early when Grenades FC took the lead. Trevon Harris alone at the back post, and the team from Antigua and Barbuda silenced the National Stadium. But the Cougar Sharks will attack back. Jason McCann with the lovely side volley in the 38th minute, and it was all square. The veteran Carlos Edwards showed raw power and technique. You could hear the proper ball and foot connection. No chance for the keeper. 2-1 Central in front of the half. The victory was cemented with emphasis in the 85th minute. Nathaniel Garcia from way out. I think the keeper got a touch, but it was too hot to handle. 3-1 the final in this one.
And switching sport now, veteran jockey Patrick Husbands dominated Woodbine's 10-race card Sunday by reeling off 4 wins to close the gap on the early leaders in the newly minted campaign. The Barbadian won with favourite Ring for a Drink in race 2 and followed up with victory in race 7 with 3-1 Chance Trouble in Phoenix, before also taking race 9 with another favourite, Jennifer Lynette. Husbands then brought the curtain down on the 5 outings with victory in the day's final race aboard 6-1 Chance Spirit of Caledon. Robert Geller has the call.
On their way, a perfect start. Raspberry Wild and Diva on a Dime best away, with Diva on a Dime a slender lead. Coming fast on the outside is Madame Gizmo, and they're across the track and up in the centre driving is Inside Ring. Ring for a Drink back on the inside of Mary Sue We Love You, who's second last in the early part. Titan City is finding a seam right through the pack and is slicing up towards the middle of it, but the leader getting away from the opposition is Madame Gizmo. From the outside spot is Madame Gizmo against the rail by 2.5 to Diva on a Dime. Inside Ring, then Titan City, Raspberry Wild. Mary Sue We Love You is off the track making ground. Ring for a Drink is on the rails also coming forward. Top of the lane and shooting well ahead, Madame Gizmo by 2.5. Diva on a Dime trying to switch leads, and down the centre, Ring for a Drink. Madame Gizmo a fill on to run, 2 in front. Ring for a Drink is steaming home down the outside now. Madame Gizmo only a length and a half, and Ring for a Drink absolutely flying and is going to get up here. Ring for a Drink wins by a length. Madame Gizmo's second, Raspberry Wild nipping Diva on a Dime for show.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Welcome to Dominica, a true fantasy island. Whether you're in search of extreme adventure or a family vacation or a relaxing getaway, Dominica is fun for everyone. And a place where you can totally disconnect and enjoy paradise. Discover Dominica, the nature island.
Again, the major developments of this day. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves urges CARICOM leaders to stand together against efforts to topple the Venezuelan government. And in sport, West Indies head coach Stuart Law believes the regional side can take heart from the just-ended Test series against Pakistan despite their loss. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.